So the lipids will contain the hydroxyl groups, functional groups. They also contain the carboxyl functional group. So for the lessons on lipids, objectives would be for us to understand the structure of glycerides or triglycerides. These are very important. Lipids. So we need to understand the structure and also their functions as well. So we need to explain the functions of fats. So we need to explain the functions of fats. That's just a typing error for the last word of function. So we need to explain the functions of fats. We need to apply then our knowledge of the structure of phospholipids to the formation of cell membranes. We're also going to consider the phospholipids. And then we're going to distinguish among the fats, the phospholipids, steroids, and other different types of lipids. We're going to describe their composition, their characteristics, and their biological importances, or their biological importance. So we're going to look at the introduction. So we're going to have an introduction. Then we're going to look at the functions of lipids. Then we're going to look at fatty acids. Then we look at glycerol. Then we're going to look at triglycerides, phospholipids. Then look at waxes, steroids, and glycolipids, together with carotenoids as well. So basically, this will be the outline for our learning on lipids. So we are going to start today and then finish up on Saturday evening. So when we look at lipids, so I find that lipids are actually esters of fat acids. So they are going to contain fat acids and alcohol as well. So they're going to contain fat acids and alcohols. So they are esters. So they are formed from fat acids and alcohol. Remember, when we look at glycerol, we're going to see the structure of glycerol, which reacts with fat acids for the formation of triglycerides. So examples of fat acids, we have called fats, we have waxes, we have fat-soluble vitamins. So these fat-soluble vitamins are vitamin A, D, E, and vitamin K. We also have triglycerides, also have phospholipids, we have steroids and carotenoids. So these are some of the examples of biological importance that we have. So notice that from the preamble that lipids are actually water insoluble. However, they are able to be extracted from cells using organic solvents. So we can use ether, chloroform, or benzene to extract these molecules. These lipid molecules have diverse properties because of the carbon to hydrogen bonds that exist with few oxygen containing functional groups. So I find that lipids consist mainly of carbon and hydrogen. So I'm just going to find few oxygen atoms in a lipid molecule. I'm going to find very few oxygen atoms in a lipid molecule. So when we look at these carbohydrates, when we looked at carbohydrates, we found that they were defined by their structure. So we define them by their structure. However, when you look at these lipids, we categorize them sorry guys, I think the network lapse, but are you able to get me now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I was saying that when we looked at carbohydrates, we define them by their structure. We define them by their structure. However, when we look at the lipids, we categorize them in the fact that they are actually soluble in non-polar solvents. So for example, ether and chloroform, these are non-polar solvents. So I find that lipids are relatively insoluble in water. However, they are soluble in non-polar solvents such as ether, chloroform, and benzene. So when you look at lipids, they actually built from a simple skeleton that is made of two main molecules. So we have fat acids and glycerol. Fat acids and glycerol. Now, when you look at the fat acids, you find that they have it's a long chain of hydrocarbons. Remember, I looked at hydrocarbons, molecules that contain hydrogen and carbon atoms only. So for the fat acids, they have a long hydrocarbon, long chain of hydrocarbons. And then we have the carboxylic acid at one end. So you have the carboxyl group at one end. When we look at glycerol, we are going to find that glycerol is a 3-carbon polyalcohol. So it has 3 hydroxyl groups, 3 hydroxyl groups. Remember, we said that lipids are esters of fat acids and alcohols. Fat acids and alcohols. So the lipids are composed of fat acid. Lipids are composed of fat acids and glycerol. So we are going to find that this glycerol molecule and the 3 fat acids are going to be attached. So 1 to each carbon of the glycerol backbone. So the fat acids and the glycerol molecule are going to be attached through a dehydration reaction.